number is it?
Surah number 33, Surah Al-Ahzab.
Surah Al-Ahzab, the Allies. This surah was revealed in Medina and it has 73 ayat. In the commentary of Majmu' al-Bayan, it is narrated from the Holy Prophet that whoever recites Surah Al-Ahzab and also teaches it to his family members, he will be saved from the torment of the grave. Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam has said that the reward for reciting this surah often is countless, and the one who does so will be under the protection of the Holy Prophet and his progeny on the day of reckoning. Keeping this surah written on deer skin makes a person honourable in the eyes of people. Everyone craves for his company. O Prophet, be careful of your duty to Allah, and do not comply with the wishes of the unbelievers and the hypocrites, for surely Allah is knowing, wise. And follow what is revealed to you from your Lord. Surely Allah is aware of what you do, and rely on Allah, and Allah is the sufficient for protector. Allah has not made any man two hearts within him, nor has He made your wives whose backs you liken to the backs of your mothers as your mothers, nor has He made those whom you assert to the sons of your sons. These are the words of your mouths, and Allah speaks the truth, and He guides to the way. A certain relationship to their fathers, this is equitable with Allah, but if you do not know their fathers, then they are but brethren in faith and your friends. And there is no blame on you concerning that in which you made a mistake, but concerning that which your hearts do purposely. Blame may rest on you, and Allah is forgiving, merciful. The Prophet has greater claim on the faithful than they have on themselves, and his wives are as the mothers, and the possessors of relationship have the better claim in the ordinance of Allah to inheritance one with respect to another than other believers, and then those who have fled their homes, except that you do some good to your friends. That is written in the book. And when we made a covenant with the prophets, and with you, and with Nuh, and Ibrahim, and Musa, and Isa, son of Maryam, and we made with them a strong covenant, that He may question the truthful for their truth, and He has prepared for the unbelievers a painful punishment. O you who believe, call to mind the favour of Allah to you, when there came down upon you hosts, so He sent against them a strong wind, and hosts that you saw not, and Allah is seeing what you do. And they came upon you from above you and from below you, and when their eyes turned down, their hearts rose up to their throats, and you began to think diverse thoughts of Allah. There were the believers were tried, and they were shaken with severe shaking. And when the hypocrites and those in whose hearts was a disease began to say, Allah and His Apostle did not promise us victory, but only to deceive. And when a party of them said, O people of Yasrib, there is no place to stand for you here, therefore go back, and a party of them asked permission of the Prophet, saying, surely our houses are exposed. And they were not exposed, they only desired to fly away. And if an entry were made upon them from outlying parts of it, then they were asked to wage war, they would not certainly have done it, and they would not have stayed in it but a little while. And certainly they had made a covenant with Allah before, that they would not turn their backs, and Allah's covenant shall be inquired of. Say, flight shall not do you any good if you fly from death or slaughter, and in that case you will not be allowed to enjoy yourselves, but not a little. Say, who is it that can withhold you from Allah if He intends to do you evil? Rather, He intends to show you mercy, and they will not find for themselves besides Allah any guardian or a helper. Allah knows indeed those among you who hinder others, and those who say to their brethren, come to us, and they come not to the fight but a little. Being in the garden with respect to you, but when fear comes, you will see them looking to you, their eyes rolling like one swooning because of death. But when the fear is gone, they smite you with sharp tongues, being niggardly of the good things. These have not believed, therefore Allah has made their doing naught, and this is easy to Allah. Then they think the allies are not gone, and if the allies should come again, they would be feigned in the deserts with their desert Arabs asking for news about you. And if they are among you, they would not fight, save a little. Certainly you have in the Apostle of Allah an excellent example for him, and hopes in Allah, and the latter day, and remembers Allah much. And when the believers saw the allies, they said, this is what Allah and His Apostle promised us. And Allah and His Apostle spoke truth, and it only increased them in faith and in submission. Of the believers, of men who are true to the covenant which they made with Allah, so of them is he who accomplished his vow, and of them is he who yet waits and have not changed in the least. That Allah may reward the truthful for their truth, and punish the hypocrites if He pleased or turns to them mercifully. Surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. And Allah turned back the unbelievers in their rage. They did not obtain any advantage, and Allah sufficed the believers in fighting. Allah is strong, mighty. And He drove down those of the followers of the book who backed them from fortresses, and He cast awe into their hearts. Some you killed and took captive another part. And He made you heirs to the land and their dwellings and their property, and to a land which you have not yet trodden. And Allah has power over all things. O Prophet, say to your wives, if you desire this world's life and its adornment, then come, I will give you provision and allow you to depart a goodly departing. And if you desire Allah and His Apostle and the latter abode, then surely Allah is prepared for the doers of good among you a mighty reward. O wives of the Prophet, whoever you commits an open indecency, the punishment shall be increased to her doubly. And this is easy for Allah. And whoever of you is obedient to Allah and His Apostle and does good, we will give to her reward doubly, and we will have prepared for her an honourable sustenance. O wives of the Prophet, you are not like any other of the women. If you will be on your guard, ye will not be soft in your speech, lest he in whose heart is a disease yearn and speak a good word. And say in your houses, and do not display your finery like the displaying of ignorance of yore, and keep up prayer and pay the poor, and obey Allah and His Apostle. Allah only desires to keep away from the uncleanliness of you, O people of the house, and to purify you, thorough purifying. And keep to mind which is recited in your houses of the communications of Allah and the wisdom. Surely Allah is a knower of the subtleties, aware. Submit, and the woman who submits, and the believing men and the believing women, and the obeying men and the obeying women, and the truthful men and the truthful women, and the patient men and the patient women, the humble men and the humble women, and all alms-giving men and the alms-giving women, and the fasting men and the fasting women, and the men who guard the private parts and the women who guard the men. You remember Allah much, and as the woman who remember Allah has prepared for them forgiveness and a mighty reward. And it's the whole thought of a believing man and a believing woman that they should have any choice in their matter when Allah and His Apostle have decided a matter. And whoever disobeys Allah and His Apostle, he surely strays or from manifest straying. And when you said to him, to whom Allah had shown favour and to whom you had shown favour, keep your wife to yourself and be careful of your deeds to Allah, and you conceal in your soul what Allah would bring light to. And you feared men, and Allah had a greater right that you should fear Him. But when Zayd had accomplished his want of her, we gave her to you as a wife, so that there should not be no difficulties for the believers in respect of the wives and their adopted sons, when they accomplish their want of them, and Allah's command shall be performed. There is no harm in the Prophet doing that which Allah has ordained for him. Such has been the course of Allah with respect to those who have gone before, and the command of Allah is a decree that is made absolute. Those who deliver the messages of Allah and fear Him, and do not fear anyone but Allah, and Allah is sufficient to take account. Muhammad is not the father of any of your men, but he is the apostle of Allah, and the last of the prophets, and Allah is cognizant of all things. O you believe, remember Allah remembering frequently, and glorify Him morning and evening. He it is who sends His blessings on you, and so do His angels, that He may bring you forth out of utter darkness into the light, and He is merciful of the believers. The salutation on the day that they meet Him shall be peace, and He has prepared for them an honourable reward. O Prophet, surely we have sent to you as a witness, and as a bearer of good news, and as a warner, and as one inviting to Allah by His permission, and as a light-giving torch. And give the believers the good news that they shall have the grace from Allah, and be not compliant to the unbelievers and the hypocrites, and leave unregarded the annoying talk, and rely on Allah, and Allah is sufficient as a protector. O you believe, when you marry the believing woman, then divorce them before you can touch them, and you have in their case no term which you should reckon, so make some provision for them, and send them forth a goodly sending forth. O Prophet, surely we have made lawful to you your wives, whom you have given their dowries, and those whom your right hand possesses out of those whom Allah has given to you as prisoners of war, and the daughters of your paternal uncles, and the daughters of your paternal aunts, and the daughters of your maternal uncles, and the daughters of your maternal aunts, who fled with you, and a believing woman, if she gave herself of the Prophet, if the Prophet desired to marry her specifically for you, not for the rest of the believers. We know what we have ordained for them concerning their wives and those whom their right hands possess, in order that no blame may attach to you. And Allah is forgiving, merciful. And they do not whom you please of them, and you may take to you whom you please, and whom you desire of those whom you have separated provisionally. No blame attaches to you. This is most proper, so that their eyes may be caught and they may not grieve, and that they should be pleased. All of them with what you give them, and Allah knows what is in your heart, and Allah is knowing, forbearing. It is not allowed to you to take women afterwards, nor that you should change them for other wives, though their beauty may be pleasing to you, except what your right hand possesses, and Allah is watchful over all things. O you who believe, do not enter the house of the Prophet unless permission is given to you for a meal, not waiting for its cooking being finished, but when you are invited, enter, and when you have taken the food, then disperse, not seeking, listen to talk. Surely this gives the Prophet trouble, but he forbears from you, and Allah does not forbear from the truth. And when you ask of them any goods, ask of them from behind a curtain. This is pure for your heart and for their hearts, and it does not behove you that you should give trouble to the apostle of Allah, nor that you should marry his wives after him, ever. Surely this is the grievous sight of Allah. If you do a thing openly or do it in secret, then surely Allah is cognizant of all things. There is no sin in respect to their fathers, nor their brothers, nor their sisters, nor sons, nor their sisters' sons, nor their own women, nor of what your right hand possess. And be careful of your duties to Allah. Surely Allah is a witness of all things. Surely Allah and his angels bless the Prophet. O you who believe, call for divine blessings on him, and salute with a becoming salutation. Surely as for those who speak evil things of Allah and his apostle, Allah has cursed them in this world and the hereafter. And he has prepared for them a chastisement bringing disgrace. And those who speak evil things of the believing men and the believing women without their having earned it, they are guilty indeed of false accusation of a manifest sin. And the Prophet said to your wives and your daughters, and let the women of the believers that they let down upon them their overgarments. This shall be more proper that they may be known, and thus they will not be given trouble, and Allah is forgiving, merciful. If the hypocrites and those whose hearts is a disease and the agitators in the city do not exist, we shall most certainly set you over them. Then they shall not be your neighbors in it, but for a little while. Cast wherever they are, found they shall be seized and murdered, a horrible murdering. Such is the course of Allah with respect to those who have gone before, and you shall not find any change in the course of Allah. Men ask you about the hour. Say, the knowledge of it is only with Allah, and what will make you comprehend that the hour may be nigh. Surely Allah has cursed the unbelievers and has prepared for them a burning fire. To abide therein for a long time, they shall not find a protector or a helper. On the day when their faces shall be turned to the fire, they shall say, Oh would that we had obeyed Allah and obeyed the Apostle. And they shall say, O our Lord, surely we obeyed our leaders and our great men, so they led us astray from the path. O our Lord, give them a double punishment and curse them with a great curse. O you who believe, be not like those who spoke evil things in Musa, but Allah cleared him of what they said, and was worthy of regard with Allah. O you who believe, be careful of your deeds to Allah, and speak the right word. He will put your deeds into a right state for you. He will forgive you your fault, and whoever obeys Allah and his apostle, he indeed achieves a mighty success. Surely we offer the trust to the heavens and the earth and the mountains, but they refused to be unfaithful to it and feared from it, and man has turned unfaithful to it. Surely he is just unjust, ignorant. Surely Allah will chastise the hypocritical men and the hypocritical women, and the polytheistic men and the polytheistic women, and Allah will turn mercifully to the believing woman, and Allah is forgiving, merciful. Sadaqallahu al-Aliyyul Azim.
Yes.
Exactly.